My name's Richard Bolahan Oluwakutumbo Akerele. I didn't tell people that when I was growing up. I pretended to be just Richard. Supply teachers stopped at Richard because they realised other names would just not be able to pronounce. I grew up in Canning Town, which is not what it looks like now. It was 1995 when I was when I moved down there, and at the time it had the highest teenage pregnancy, one of the worst areas in Europe, not even London. But it was what I called home. It was a really fun time. Primary school, penny sweets, if you remember those days. And then I guess when I got to sixth form, that was the turning point for me, because I knew East London. I knew Romford for 5 years, from year 7 to year 11. And I had a sibling rivalry. So I've got a younger sister. And we used to go to her school. They have their own theatre. They have their own sports centre. It looks like Hogwarts. Where is my sister? Is she in a different reality? So I had a conversation with my mum and I said to her, look, you're not meant to have favourites, really. I'm older, right? What my mum said in her defence was, we tried to get you into a private school, whatever. But when I went for the exam, I went in there, and because I'd not prepared, I just saw shapes. By the time you know it, they're like, please put your pen down. I was like, and my mum was like, what happened? I was like, well, I saw shapes, and that was it. So she was saying it was basically my fault. I remember it being in English, and they were like, yeah, I didn't like reading out loud, but then it was like, they said, oh, next person. I was like, already thinking, all right, this is my line, this is my, and just feeling like, oh my gosh. Trying to read Hamlet, and then probably my teacher speaking to someone else saying, that was a bit of a struggle, innit? One of the support staff spoke to me and said, do you think you might have dyslexia? I was like, no, I don't think so, no. I don't think so, no. And then it's like, but no, I think we should do some tests and find out. I think, maybe. And so I spoke to my mum about this and she said, absolutely, completely not. You've got here on your own merit. You're a good lad. You're smart. They just take the mick. I realised that I wasn't taking in information. Get to my final year and I was like, actually, you know what? Reading is a bit difficult. Like, I've got so much reading to do, so many assignments, and it's so critical. What did that guy say when I was 16? What did he say? He said, you might have dyslexia. I said, all right, let me go to the team. So I went to the team. Don't tell anyone, but I think I've got dyslexia. What do I do? So I did an assessment. It turns out I did have dyslexia. Bearing in mind, this is my final year. And so I get the assessment, I get a free laptop. I was like, oh, this is nice. Oh, I should have said this earlier. I get a spending allowance on books. I was like, oh, come on, yeah, I'll buy that book as well. Yeah, I love that. And then I get extra time. I was like, what? I've missed out on extra time for 2 years. And it just shows that actually support was available, support is available, but there are potentially cultural, personal reasons why people don't get the support. Fast forward for 16 to 18-year-olds now, it's why I'm passionate about working with people who are neurodivergent and making sure at 16 they know easy read, they know that they can apply for things like educational care and health plan. There's this book called The Cultural Trap by Darren Wallace. It talks about people from different cultures, minority groups, etc., and how what you value, how you're seen, what your cultural capital is, what you have access to, affects your outcomes. My cultural capital around being from East London, my cultural capital, my mum saying, oh no, from a Christian perspective, this is not necessarily a good thing. It must be bad. Throw it away. Forget about it, whatever. Cultural traps mean that you don't get access to the information. Dyslexia doesn't define me anymore because I've got the resources through Dragon software, through read and write software to actually thrive in my job and to be comfortably neurodivergent. I don't have to hide it, I don't have to mask it, I don't have to have this fatigue of trying to fit in when actually you can just be yourself.